Welcome to my new series, where I take on all the regions of Pokemon in order in a randomized Nuzlocke fashion. We've already heard the same song and dance before. You are allowed to catch the first encounter you see per round, you must nickname all your captured Pokemon to grow more attached to them, and if a Pokemon faints, it is considered unusable from that point onwards and must be boxed or released for the rest of the playthrough. But in this Nuzlocke series, I am adding 2 extra rules into the fray. If I run into an encounter on any route that I've already successfully caught, I am allowed to re-roll for a different encounter in that same round to prevent any duplicate teammates via the Dupe's Clause rules. And lastly, by whatever chances that I run into any shinies on a route, whether it be a Pokemon that I already have or have not caught, I am free to catch and add to my team as I please. For those who are new that are tuning in, allow me to summarize. Last time, we started our journey in Pallet Town, found 5 encounters to add to our team, excluding 1, and had a very close call with obtaining our first gym badge to add to our belt. We are playing Pokemon Leaf Green in the Kanto region and will be continuing on where we left off. So without further ado, it's time to make our journey to Cerulean City, where the next gym badge awaits. After coming out of the Pokemon Center and exploring through Pewter City, talking to the town folks, and being dragged to visit the museum north of town, I come across someone who was the aide of Professor Oak. They were just waiting outside of Route 3, wanting to make a delivery to assist me on my Nuzlocke journey. They gave me a pair of running shoes that had a letter attached to it being written from my mom to hear her kind words, which put a big smile on my face. Now entering Route 3 on running speed, I am put through a gauntlet of trainers before making my way to Mount Moon. Yes, there's going to be quite a few trainer battles in this video, so I won't go into too much detail and get all 8 trainer battles over with. My first challenger had a Lantern and Psyduck, which were taken down by the efforts of both Glutton and Astral. The next trainer seemed to have a better team, showing both Slurking and Ninetales. Still showing no efforts, Astral and Big Lad reigned dominance over them. Following suit, the third trainer had a Clefable and the Hoenn starter Mudkip, which Glutton showed no mercy for on their own. Up next, the following trainer had a Tyrogue, Phanpy, Vigoroth, and a Pupitar, which all fell to the duo efforts of Astral and Big Lad. Next trainer was nothing to brag home about since they only had a Larn Centron, whom Astral could care less for. Further up the ladder, the next trainer had a Ludicolo and Heracross, which I let Astral go on a murder spree for alone. Nearly out of the woods, I am then faced with a Houndour and a Magmar, which are both taken down by the waves belonging to Big Lad. And finally in the block, I am faced with a Larn Delibird with the last trainer, which I had to Astral do the honors of clearing out. All of those battles were 20 minutes worth of recording, but now we finally get the chance to see our Route 3 encounter after our 8-on-1 experience. Right before Mount Moon, I finally got my Route 3 encounter, who turned out to be a Ninetales to have on my own team, who I was rather interested in seeing myself. Hell yeah! Just like before on previous encounters, I swapped in Glutton to put it asleep with Yawn and whittled away Ninetales' HP into the red to leave it vulnerable for the capture on my first attempt. Finally catching a Gen 1 Pokemon to be recorded in my Pokédex, I named the Ninetales Kitsune because I have no need to explain. It had a special defense nature at the cost of physical defense with the ability Flash Fire, an ability that nullifies any opposing Fire-type damage and increases the user's Fire-type moves by 50%. Now we finally have a full team of 6. Within the Poké Center outside of Mount Moon, I come across someone who was selling Magikarps for 500 in-game Pokécoins. But remember, Pokemon are randomized, and I was given a chance to buy myself my own Tentacruel, who I named Neptune. And no, I am not naming any octopus Pokemon that I find Squidward. It also had a special defense nature, but at the cost of speed this time. And out of the 2 abilities it could have, this Pokemon gets to have the ability Liquid Ooze. The ability I hope Glutton to have the first time when picking him as my starter, cause that makes sense. Nevertheless, I took the time to level up my new companions and store Tentacruel in my PC for now before making my way to Mount Moon. Now entering Mount Moon, it would not take long at all to run into my next encounter, which showed itself as a Sunflora. Not the best Pokemon, but certainly not the worst thanks to its base stat total of 425. Taking my usual strategy, it didn't take long to capture it on my first attempt. I named the Sunflora Sunny before sending it to my PC, not having the chance to look at what it had as its nature or having one of their two abilities, Chlorophyll or Solar Power. Moving on, passing by a bunch of Shroomish, Sunfloras, and Flygons as possible encounters, I come across the first of many trainer battles in the cave. The first trainer was a Nuzleaf, which Astro took out with little effort, and surprisingly a Ditto. This would work in my favor since I swapped out Astro for Spox to bait the Ditto into transforming as it, giving it the lower than mediocre stats that Spox has, and leaving it with nowhere to run as I decided to play a game of fetch with Astro that didn't last for long. In Aerodactyl and Zubat later, I come across a scientist that was keeping guard of an item at his left. The scientist led with Poliwrath that needs submission, bringing down Astro's HP just above half. Knowing how the tables were between us since the Poliwrath knew a few fighting moves, I swapped in Glutton to cover the damage as the Poliwrath tried to put him to sleep using Hypnosis the moment he came out. The move repeatedly missed before falling asleep instead thanks to Glutton's yawn and pounded away inch by inch before it drops to the ground. The next Pokemon, which I can't pound away thanks to being a ghost type, was a Duskull, but what I can do is put it to sleep just the same. I used Night Slash and Leon Retaliation before their impending slumber and whittled down its HP to nothing despite waking up midway, leaving me free to pick up the item that turned out to be a... No shot! Did I just picked up the most likely one-of-a-kind Master Ball that is able to catch any and all Pokemon without fail. Anyway, the next trainer I was faced with had an Umbreon, which Astro wasted no time with, and it was followed by the legendary bird. What do you mean you have a Moltres? Yes, even legendary Pokemon are in the mix of being randomized with any and all trainers and encounters. However, despite my surprised expression, I took it down with Big Lad with a single water gun. And next was a Silcoon, speeding through 3 more trainers that had a Jolteon and Arbok, the other having a Machamp and Farfetch'd, and the last one in the first area with a Bagon, and to my bloody surprise, the pre-evolved form of Blaziken Combusken, because as Blaziken, I got it over with and took it down with the same move as the same Pokemon, reliving my pain. Up next was a Venomoth, but who cares about it? Reaching the second floor of Mount Moon, I come across my first Team Rocket Grunt. What's up, brother? How you doing? Yo, look to your right. Look to your left. Look to your right. What's up? My god. People needs to get their bloody ears cleaned out. This grunt starting the battle off led with a Nidoqueen, which I sent out Glutton to put it to sleep and do the heavy lifting of taking it out after enduring Double Kick. Next up was his Flygon, who I too put it to sleep with Yawn and swapped out Astro to take it out with its new move Slash. A Skiploom, Trico, Swallow, and another Team Rocket Grunt who was wielding a Shell Gun and Blastoise later, I reached a researcher trying to hoard the 2 fossils for himself, which I graciously let myself be known till he charged at me with a goddamn Latios. Okay, they're yours. They're yours. Though, a little too soon for me to say that, as on the first turn, it used Marmentar, a move that sharply lowers the target's attack and special attack stat, at the cost of fainting, which had me stunned in confusion. Why? His next 2 Pokemon were a Machamp and an Electrode. This had me worried as I feared it knowing the move Explosion, another move that causes the user to faint but can do massive damage and most likely enough to take out one of my comrades, with Big Lad having the exception. But thankfully, it did not and used Charge in vain, leaving it open for Jaws to take out freely. But with that, I had now finally cleared Mount Moon of all its trainers and made it to Route 4 in the span of 40 minutes. Now finally getting the time to breathe, I make it to the Mega Punch and Kick tutors to teach to one of my teammates. After a while of thinking and consideration, I let Jaws learn Mega Punch in replacement of Scary Face, since Bite was his only attacking move, which wasn't going to get me too far with him. And thanks to being one of my physical attackers, I ain't passing up the chance and decided to leave Mega Kick for later down the line in the series. Now with all that out of the way, how about our Route 4 encounter? Brother. Not expecting to find one early, though still surprising since I from time to time use Gardevoir in most of my team for the unique type coverage of Psychic and Fairy. But in Gen 3, it's only Psychic type, but I'm catching it anyway after putting it to sleep and lowering their HP. I named them Serenity and sent them to the box where I will soon be including in my team. It had an adamant nature with the ability Trace, an ability which copies the opposing Pokemon's ability. Scouting out the rest of the encounters in the route along with the Gardevoir, laid a Growlithe, Rattata, and a Drowsy. So it was safe to say I got the best possible encounter for once before finally making it to Cerulean City. Unfortunately, I had to bench Sparks to Pichu for Serenity the Gardevoir being the better alternative. If by chance, this won't be the last time we see of good old Sparks. I will always remember the times you pulled through for us, little guy. After leveling up and sorting out our team that I'm very confident with and restocking on items, I felt a presence in the area in which I found much too familiar. I went to the next location of whom I suspected my rival Slash to be at, meeting me before the next gauntlet of trainers I will face against. Asking for what I caught, we initiated our third rival battle, because why the heck not? First of the four, Slash leads with a Wurmple. I pounded away at Glutton, taking no time at all as his string shots in retaliation. Let's see what's next. Diglett, easy. I swapped in Big Lad to outcard the Diglett with Water Gun after enduring a Magnitude 6. Next up with a Leap in Power Venusaur, but unfortunately, I just so happened to have Kitsune the Ninetales with me, taking it out with Ember after enduring a Vine Whip. And lastly was Hitmonlee, which Serenity took down with 2 confusions with little to no trouble. Definitely was less troublesome than our second bout, though I think I should have held back a bit, right? Nah! Now it's time to speedrun through another gauntlet of trainers that we'll face against. First trainer wooded 4 Pokemon, Igglybuff, O-Code, Masquerain, O-Code, Steelix, O-Code, and Manectric, also O-Code. Next trainer up had 3 Pokemon. First up, Exploud, taken out by Glutton's 2 Sludges after I put them to sleep. Second, Nidoqueen. I should have done this the first time with the Team Rocket Grunt, but it's O-Code by Big Lad. And lastly, a Shuckle which Jaws played fetch with. Incoming third trainer wielding 2 Pokemon, Porygon, O-Code, and Dodrio, also O-Code. Easy stuff. Onto the fourth trainer and their 2 Pokemon, a Psyduck survives the first Sludge but is taken out the next turn after enduring a measly confusion. Following suit was a Donphan. He too survived the first attack, but crumbles after the second Water Gun. Go home! Final trainer of the gauntlet led with their singular Venomoth. Right, so there's battles up to that. Yikes. All of that was for a goddamn nugget. Thank you for lending me my reward. Oh wait, is another Team Rocket Grunt. I'm sure it wouldn't be too hard, right? A goddamn Rayquaza, the legendary beast of the bloody sky. Nevertheless, I had no choice but to take it on. It starts out with Twister and puts Glut into below half HP. I decided to go toe-to-toe with it as I swapped in Big Lad the Whale Lord. As the beast was asleep, I began my barrage of super effective rollouts. It used his ancient power, which got me a bit worried, but showed little damage and no Omniboost. From there, Big Lad doesn't falter once. A fucking legend! A fucking legend! Oh, brother! As shown, I was not about to fall to a legendary's hand. Next up was a Marshtomp, which I deemed to be an easy clap. I let Astro do the honors and punted the grunt to the sky along with its Rayquaza. Yeah, I am good. I took down your fucking Rayquaza. Get out of my face. Good riddance. Wanted to go for my Route 24 encounter, I faced off with one more trainer battle, praying that it will be my last before facing off the next gym leader. This trainer had nothing special, showing its Snobble and Quillfish, which both Glutton and Serenity took down with ease. Alright, now it's time for my next encounter.
Oh my god.
And I thought the legendary Sky Pokemon was enough. Nope. The game wants me to have the legendary Pokemon of the gosh darn sea. As the legendary Pokemon made it rain, I took my same strategy for catching my encounters, put it to sleep with Yawn, and cut its HP into the red before throwing the first Pokeball. I'm only the second video in! And I didn't need the Master Ball after all. I went ahead and nicknamed the Kyogre Oceana since it's the god of the sea and sent it to my box for further inspection. I took the time to scout the other possible encounters that I could have gotten, which turned out to be a Flygon, Raticate, and an Abra.
Brother, how?
That's 2 rounds in a row that had low tier Pokemon besides the Raticate. And there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. Yeah. I tried moving on to get my last encounter before the second gym in Route 25, and just when I thought I could catch a break, what's up with Cerulean? Brother, I know it has Cerulean Cave that basically lives the mighty Mewtwo, but come on! I don't need to explain this. You all probably know what's about to happen next.
Brother. Not gonna.
I think I'm done. The route also had a Sea King and a Cobbleptops. And to put it short, the Deoxys and Kyogre had neutral natures. Moving on, it's gym time! At the gym, we are faced with 2 trainers before the gym leader, Misty. But before that, I would like to mention a rule that I have yet to discuss about until this very moment. Up until the gym battle, I am allowed to use Pokemon that aren't above the gym leader's ace Pokemon. Since I cheated leveling up my Pokemon with unlimited rare candies, I wanted to balance it out using limitations before going gym after gym. And since Misty's ace Pokemon is level 21 and my starter Glutton is a level above that limit, I cannot use him against her. Nevertheless, I started the gym challenge. The first obstacle in the way leads with a Togetic, whom I let Glutton use Sludge Bomb to take it out after a Togetic playing a game of chance with Metronome, which is a move that allows a random move to occur even beyond what the user can naturally learn. Next up was a Vulpix, who I swapped to in Big Lad for. But Vulpix used its roll to swap out a Pokemon by random instead, as if it knew what I was planning. But it didn't stop me from taking it out anyway as Serenity. First trainer down. Up next was the last trainer before the gym leader, who leads out with an Octillery. Glutton takes it on with a Sludge Bomb and takes it out after being inflicted with Constrict. Now let's see if the second gym battle can go the same way as the first one did. After benching Glutton, it was time to face off the water gym leader, who leads with a... That is not a water Pokemon, that is a Latios! Alright, one more legendary to take down, let's do it. I lead with Astro, who sets up Sword Stance as the Latios used Safeguard to protect itself. I took the chance to use Leah to cut the Latios' defenses. Latios uses Wish and Vayne, which heals the user on the following turn, but Astro wasn't having any of that and took out the legendary with a powered up critical slash. And for the last Pokemon... And another...
Astro, just take it out, buddy. Just take it out.
Probably the most anticlimactic gym battle I've ever had when playing a Pokemon game. But I got nothing to complain about since the second badge was ours for the taking. Well, that is our Cascade badge right there. I got to the gym to heal and rest up my Pokemon after a battle-heavy journey and prepared for the next chapter to come.
Buddy.
It was legendary after legendary. What the heck was going on in Cerulean City? I now have 2 Pokemon in my PC that are legendary Pokemon, and I took down 4 of them! I need to lie down. My god.